folks, welcome to Time to Talk with Sue Harvey. I've just had such a lovely chat to Sue about what it's like living with an assistance dog. So Sue's Ross McCarthy's mum, and I was really thrilled that she sat down with me and chatted to me just about living with an assistance dog. It's not something we often have a chance to do. Either because we don't know anybody living with an assistance dog or because sometimes we might feel it's inappropriate. So it was really great just chatting about what the dogs do and how to help around the house, and also a bit about looking after them, you know, things like poo picking and feeding. So get yourself a cup of tea and settle down for Time to Talk with Sue Harvey. Take care, stay safe, and thanks for listening. Take care. Bye-bye. Hi folks, I'm here with the lovely Sue Harvey and to talk dogs. And I've been really looking forward to Sue coming on, as you might have guessed, and I'm all excited about it. So Sue, welcome to the podcast and thank you for coming on.
Thank you, Liz.
I first met you, it would have been 2011 when me and Ross graduated. We did our master's degree together. And that was, I'd heard a lot about you. For everybody who doesn't know, Sue is Ross McCarthy's mum. And so I met you for the first time when me and Ross graduated. It was an amazing day, wasn't it?
Oh, brilliant. I was so proud. I could have just absolutely burst at every scene. Yeah.
It was great. I mean, we were terrified going on stage. We were sitting laughing, you know, we had the giggles while we were waiting to go up. And I've always known you to have assistance dogs with you, and but did you have dogs before you had an assistance dog? So did you have, you know, have you always had dogs around you?
Yeah, as a child we always had a dog, but in my childhood, which is quite a long time ago, Liz, our dogs used to live down the bottom of the garden in a kennel, so they very rarely come in the house. I'm not too sure why we had dogs really, but anyway, yes, we had the odd scruffy mutt down the bottom of the garden. And then when Ross was 15, he'd more or less nagged me enough, or his father. He wouldn't have had to nag me, but he nagged his father enough. And we ended up with a little Jack Russell, tiny little thing called Demi. It was an absolute little dream after Ross sorted her out. So.
I knew about the Jack Russell because I've got a thing. I'm not a Jack Russell person.
No, Byron's not. But you would have adored Demi because you just wouldn't have been able not to, because she would have been on your lap, head on here, and just tilted head down. I'm in love with you. So sadly, you would have loved her. Yeah.
Yeah.
She only lived till she was 8. Bless her.
Oh.
So yeah, she didn't live very long. Bless her little heart. So yeah.
Was she diseased or was she?
She was the runt of the litter, and she had colitis quite badly, and we used to get her over it, and then it just wasn't fair. You could just see she was generally miserable with everything.
Yeah.
So
things have really changed, haven't they? Because I know I had a dog when I was I got my first dog when I was 13, and the attitude towards dogs then, currently 13, so that's 40 years ago, the attitude back then is so different to how it is now. And we didn't have the dog on the settee or anything, and we used to shut the dog out, you know, it'd be shut out of the room, and that would be the end of it.
Yeah.
We did have the dog indoors, but things have really changed, haven't over the years with the dogs.
And I think that's lovely. They should be. I mean, my dog now is just laid by my feet, where he lays all the time. I'm always wheeling up towards him and falling over him practically. But they had a beautiful little schnauzer, and she ran alongside of Demi, the little Jack, and she was a little sweetheart. But she only came after we had a German Shepherd, and we picked him up one Mothering Sunday, and he was put to sleep the day after the second Mothering Sunday with hips. His hips just, they weren't any good whatsoever, bless him. So, broken-hearted, I ended up with a little schnauzer.
Was it a miniature schnauzer that you got?
Yeah, she was a little sweetheart. Little Daisy May, yeah. And I used to show her, used to really enjoy being with her, and grooming was really tough, but I did her. She always looked beautiful, always looked like a little schnauzer should.
Mhm.
And yeah, she had a nice life, and we lost her at 13 and a half.
That's a really good age.
It's a good age.
Yes.
She could have gone on for another, and I look at Ross, the age of Ross's little dog, I just think she could have gone a bit longer. So, but the assistance dog then came in whilst I had Daisy. So
Okay, so were you in a wheelchair when you had Daisy?
not immediately. Not immediately. I'd had spinal bacterial meningitis, and I actually recovered to a certain amount, and I was walking badly, but still walking. And then life was very, very difficult. Sadly, I got divorced and moved into my little place, and I just over the few months that I was on my own, just found it increasingly difficult to either go and get shopping or because I hadn't got energy. So I decided it was time to do as I was told, go to the wheelchair and stay there and get on with life. And obviously I have. So yeah.
It's a real transition, isn't it? I mean, I've not, I haven't, but I was on crutches, and I was on crutches for 7 months, and it's a mental shift more than anything, isn't it? It's that shift in stepping into the new norm, really, isn't it? How do I look after myself like this? How do I look after my dogs? How do I poo pick? How do I? Yeah. And that was something I wanted to ask you, because I trained a lady in a wheelchair. She had one of these big kind of off-roading things, because she was gun dog training with me, and it used to stand her up and sit, so it used to go side to side, and she'd go off on the rough fields and stuff. But how do you cope poo picking? Because I know you're a really responsible dog owner. How do you, when you're in a wheelchair and you've got the arms and everything, how do you cope with like an ordinary rigid wheelchair with
Yeah. Just angle. I've got quite a long arm.
Okay.
That's very handy. And I literally can just bend down and scoop it up. And that's always been my bugbear since being in the wheelchair. I've always managed to pick up my dog food. Always. And it just so annoys me when other people who are probably more able-bodied than I am can't be bothered. And the amount of people in their little town who will say, I just don't understand. If you can do it, they can all do it. And I think, yeah, okay. So
yeah, absolutely.
It's not an issue. It's never been a big problem. And it is one with the charity that you sort of have to be able to do it, really. So, yeah, they have rules and regulations. So you do really have to, yeah. I think
that's really good. I think that's really good. It's so important for everybody.
So important.
Clean up after the dogs, isn't
it? Yeah.
So Sue, what happened then? You had little Daisy, little Daisy. Was she a lap dog? Does she sit on your lap?
Do you know what? I can always remember Ross saying to me about being in the wheelchair, and he was really adamant. He said, "Don't ever want to see you with that dog sitting on your lap in the wheelchair." Oh, it's so funny now because often I'll have little Bill. That's his little Pomeranian, where she's a little beauty. She loves coming to Nanny's because she can't walk fast enough now on the lead, so she'll go so far and she'll just angle herself as if to say enough, and she sits on my lap the way home.
I have seen photos of her on your lap. That's why I asked about Disney.
So, but I think, whatever. Yeah, I knew what Ross meant. He didn't want a mum who was disabled because he hasn't got one of those mums. So, and he didn't want that. Certainly at the beginning, I think that bothered him a bit. But, I think, bless him, I think he's took most of it in his stride. I like to think so. I feel for him about it all, really, but it wasn't my choice. It wasn't in my, I didn't turn around and say, yes, I'll have all X, Y, and Z. It wasn't my choice. So,
it's really difficult because my mum, when I think I was 12 or 13, and my mum got rheumatoid arthritis, and by the time I hit 14, she was really struggling. You know, she couldn't brush her hair and things like that, and her hands were really bad. Um, and it's really, and I say to Ross a lot, you know, whenever he says he's coming for a coffee with us, like, oh, really enjoy it, you know, just really enjoy spending time with your mum, because I lost my mum when I was in my early 30s, and so in my teenage years as well, I didn't do anything with that because she couldn't.
No,
We didn't go for a coffee or anything like that, and I think it's just really important to have that lovely relationship with your mum. So anybody who's listening, take your mum out for a coffee and buy some flowers.
Yeah. Oh, always. Bless him. No, I'm really blessed, because you know what Ross is like.
Yeah, I do.
He's one of the nicest human beings I've ever known, and he's the most amazing son. So I'm a very lucky.
Oh, so that's lovely.
But I am.
It is. I mean, he's, you know, he is really lovely.
It's a bit extra special, really. Yeah, he was.
He's going to blush like mad when he hears this. You know that, don't you? We'll make his life a misery.
You have to say what's out there, don't you? And you know, because he's lovely with everybody, and I'm sure people must think, can't be like that all the time. Actually, he is. I don't know him any other different, really. He's just the most caring person I know. So, and I'm immensely proud of him, and he knows that, because I'm always telling him that anyway. So yeah, bless him.
I know. I can remember seeing the pride on your face when we went through and did Would You Agree? It was wonderful. It was wonderful. Yeah. So, can I ask you about your first assistance dog? How did you find handling your assistance dog?
Handling was difficult to start with, although they are trained to walk along with the wheelchair, and they're trained beautifully. You can only do so much with them, because your personality's got to get with them, and your partnership's got to bond, hasn't it? And it's not instant, because they're not puppies. They, my very first one, who was absolutely gorgeous, bless her, she was a large golden retriever. She had everything, and she knew it. You go into a room, somebody get a camera out, she'd say, this side's my best side. She used to pose for the camera at all times. She was great fun. But she did have a bad habit of cutting across if another dog was about. And I remember her catching my shin, and I thought, I really can't have this, because it was a hard leather strap. And Ross, thank goodness, knows most things. He advised what to do, and within the next walk, it was sorted. So she was absolutely lovely. Recall was beautiful, so I could take her for a good walk, let her off in the field, and have a great deal of fun with her. So yeah, she was beautiful.
And then where did you go after that? After your Goldie, did you have, how many assistance dogs have you had in total?
This gorgeous boy here is my third.
He's your third. What is he?
He's a retriever. No, he's a lab cross retriever. Very hairy at the moment, but he and I are really like this. The partnership developed very quickly, and yeah, I want him forever. You know what I mean? He's just, he looks at me, I look at him, and he's just extra special. Almost frightening, really, because I had somewhat of that with Inca, and very sadly lost her when she was 6 with cancer. So that was absolutely, totally devastating. I think that was probably one of the worst things that ever happened to me, really. Just because I'd found something, or a partnership. I'm going to say that dog taught me what true love was. I didn't know what love in that sense was, and partnership was, because I've never had it. What I've got for Ross is completely different than what I have for my dogs. But yeah, Inca taught me. In fact, I always say she saved my life. And she certainly was my life.
And that was your first, your Goldie?
That was my first girlie. then I had another golden retriever who sadly had an autoimmune disease, and so he retired when he was 8. So it almost seems, because you don't get them until they're almost 2, so it's not long enough for anything, is it really?
No.
And so it takes you all that time, a year, 18 months really, to really bond with them.
Yeah.
This one was just completely different, but mostly it's about 18 months, 2 years. And Max was a very, very difficult dog. I took him training and things like that, but he was, I suppose, just because he'd got this illness lurking all the time.
Mm-hmm.
They're incredibly painful till they fell off, and then you see the quicks, and then he'd be fine until they fell off again, and bless him, he suffered badly. But we retired him to lovely, lovely people, Jean and Fred, and Jean and Fred had Isis, who was Inca's twin sister. There was only the 2, and they both made amazing assistance dogs. And Max lived exactly 13 and a half. It's got something about 13 and a half. So, yeah. So he did really well, because we didn't expect him to survive more than 6 months with, Jean and Fred, but they were amazing with him. So, yeah.
And so, has your relationship, not with the individual dogs, but the relationship with what you get the dogs to do for you over the years, has that changed as well? Do they do more for you now than they did in the early years, or have you?
Probably, because I think that I've become more confident in what a dog can achieve. Or do you know? So they come from dogs for the well, it's not the disabled anymore. Dogs for good.
Uh-huh.
They come from there with what I call basic training. They're well mannered. They're toilet trained. They go on command and things like that, which is very useful for keeping the dog on the edge of the grass so you can clean up behind them. And they come with like pulling clothes off and picking things up and opening doors and all those sort of things. But there's also lots of other things that I need him to do. Like I like him to unload the washing machine, and I can actually get him to put stuff in it when he feels like it. I don't force him to do anything. If we're in a really good mood, he'll help me load the machine, unload it, and again for the tumble dryer and everything. They're brilliant. Inca used to do it. She was amazing, but Max wasn't quite so keen. So I suppose they're a bit like humans. They shine in slightly different ways, but they will all help me get undressed. They all helped me get undressed. Inca was fabulous for it, and I reckon Flint's come back as got a little bit of Inca. She's there pointing the finger, like telling him what to do, I think, really.
Uh-huh.
But because I'm actually really quite hard of hearing as well now, I've trained Flint to let me know when the cooker time was going. So if I'm in the garden, I wouldn't hear it. So he would come and just touch my hand, because I'd be aware that I've left cake or whatever in the oven and I need to go in, and he'll find me and do that. So, and it's quite handy, if I've got my mobile phone and it wants charging, I'll give it to him and tell him now to go and find his dad, and he'll give it to him and things like that. So it is lovely. It is lovely. So yeah, they do lots of things without being asked as well. Like if I drop tissue, he'll sit there with his tissue in his mouth and things like that, and I haven't asked him. So he's watching me all the time. So it's lovely. Yeah, it really is.
So so he's a retriever cross lab. What you've got them in, is that Finn? Did you say his name was
Flint? Yeah, he's a lab retriever cross. Yeah, so he's got a bit more lab than retriever really, but he's a good mixture. He's a nice mixture. Yeah, he's lovely. So he's got a bit of the retriever coat, and he's got the retriever head. He's not got that long nose of the lab. He's got quite a nice shaped head. Yeah.
So so he'll help you get the clothes out of the washing machine.
Yeah. Yeah, he'll do anything. He'll open doors. He'll push the bank buttons, push pelican buttons, things like that. Yeah, he loves. I mean, we're missing it desperately. Lockdowns meant a big change for not only for me but for Flint, because when they're used to being out and about and taking stuff off the shelf and, do you want this, mum? You don't always want it, but yeah. So yeah, we're a bit like taking a child shopping. You know.
Oh, more beans, huh? Beans again today. Thank you.
Yeah, I want that. I want that. And they soon learn that if you say, I now need fish, he'll end up at the fish counter and he'll sit there and he'll wait till they wrap it and he'll stand up on the counter and take it. Gets put in my basket. Oh, it's lovely. It's, I always want to watch it because I know he's doing it for me, but I always think, oh, I wish I could watch him doing that.
Have you thought of videoing it, getting Ross to come out with you for the day and just videoing, the day in the life of an assistance dog?
Yeah, some of them do. I mean, I've had a few filming bits done, but it's just, you're never going to capture what that means to me and what he's doing. Do you know what I mean? It really is a tight two-way thing. It's like, okay, mum, where do we go next? And I know what he's thinking, and he almost knows. Well, I like to think he's one step ahead of me, really, bless him. So yeah, and he loves it. Gets to the counter and he'll take the card, or, oh, it's just beautiful. Take the receipts, and yeah, they love it too. So there's a lot of interaction with a lot of people. Of course, we haven't got it now.
That's
really,
amazing.
yeah, he missed it. He missed it terribly for the first 3 or 4 weeks. It was like, no shopping. It's like he loves good old Waitrose. He adores Waitrose because all the girls spoil him in there, and he always gets a carrot in there and things like that. So yeah, so he's missed it a lot, but he's settled down. He's all right. Just have to have a lot more fuss. I mean, the fact that it's been so hot probably wouldn't have gone out as much anyway, because you've got to protect them. So
yeah. And what about when I was growing up, we were always told never touch or distract a guide dog or an assistant dog. And I can remember when I lived in New Zealand and we were sitting on the train and a guy came in with his guide dog, and he ended up having to tell the children to leave the dog alone, and the parents were just sitting completely oblivious.
Yeah.
And so do you have that kind of issue now, Sue? Do you think attitudes have changed over the years to parents teaching their children how to behave around, assistance dogs and guide dogs and stuff? Do you think that's changed?
Sometimes it's good. Adults are not always quite as good because, again, if you're in a supermarket, the person who actually just cannot, that person is going to touch. They've got their coats on, which asks you to please, I'm working, please do not distract. And you get past and you find their hand just runs down the back. And I just have to smile. It doesn't actually worry me at all. I think it's lovely that I have, the children, nearly always children come up and say, can I touch your dog, lady? And I'll say, of course you can. Just let me put him sitting down first. But then he'll roll over and wants his tummy. And then you get a pool of children all over him and he just loves it. So, yeah. But it doesn't bother him. But I think if you've got a dog where maybe it is a distraction, then it might be difficult. But he's so well known in our town. It's unbelievable. You can't go out without him. Where's Flint? And you think, he's my own today, but no, not loud. Because he comes everywhere. He literally comes everywhere. So yeah, it's just great. He's my shadow. He should have been called Shadow actually, because that's what he is. So yeah, it's just I'm excited by him.
I just think these dogs are amazing. I trained Tara, one of the lady with the off-roading wheelchair.
Yeah.
I said I didn't want to train. Ross actually talked me into training the dog because I said to him, I'm not an assistance dog trainer. I've got no idea where to start. And he was like, just do it. It'll be a really good experience. And she wanted me to do it. So I did. And And we trained the dog to do things like take the coat off. We didn't do washing, but we did, find the phone, find the keys.
Yeah.
I had an emergency button on the wall that the dog learned to tap on an emergency. But I just find the capacity of these dogs they just want to do things all the time, and the more they do for you, the more they want to do for you.
Yeah, yeah. You can't ever overwork them, I don't think, because you can just see it with them. When they retire, when they get old, they do step down. Because my husband got a dog who's coming into retirement now in the next 5 weeks, something like that. But he's took himself down, if you know what I mean. He's not interested in doing as much. So he lets Flint do the work and stands and has the treat. It's not that silly. But, so he's actually doing every bit of the work, and Ziggy's running behind him. So yeah, but it works and it doesn't matter. But no, they're great buddies too. So
what happened? Did you say it was Ziggy?
Yeah.
What will happen when Ziggy retires? When he completely retires, will you get another dog for your husband, or will Ziggy stay until he's gone?
Yeah. Byron, that's husband, has been really, really, really torn because obviously he wants another dog.
Mm-hmm.
At this moment, I have to say, he doesn't really need, and that's a big word, he doesn't need another dog at the moment because he's not actually going out to work. He's working from home. So I feel, if there's somebody else out there who's got a real need for that assistance dog, that's where the new dog should go.
Mm-hmm.
But it would have meant that Ziggy would have been rehomed, and my heart wouldn't let that happen. No way. And Flint would just miss him dreadfully. But they do settle. I mean, don't get me wrong. There's a list for retired working dogs. People want them.
Mm-hmm.
But no, you can't have a dog that's been that faithful and just let it go. You just can't. No. So I'm really pleased to say that within this last 10 days, Byron's decided that he will wait for a new dog and we will enjoy our retired dog as well. So, yeah.
Oh, lovely. So how old is Ziggy?
He's coming up 11.
Also a good age.
He's a good age because he's a German Shepherd cross retriever.
Are they them behind you? Is that them behind you?
Yes, yeah. So they're both beautiful. Yeah, absolutely. So we've got Flint and Ziggy. So it's really, they're very, very beautiful, very, very special. They're both very special in their own ways. But Byron has a different need for a working dog. Obviously, I'm in the kitchen and things like that. So I want knives, forks, spoons picked up, and my boy will do it. So Ziggy will not pick metal up. Whereas Flint, he doesn't like metal. So he won't pick keys and things like that up. But everything else. But I will tell you, I mean, how you say about how do you retrain them or what they train for, what they pick up. And I must just say that going back to Inca, I can remember standing outside a jeweller shop and I was waiting for a friend. And I'm thinking, what's really lucky? And I've sort of done that and I thought, oh no, it's my glasses. So I took my specs off and I huffed on them. She sat there and she went, so I cleaned that and I did it again. And I went, and she went, no. So I said, do you want to clean these glasses? So I put the lens into her mouth and she went, so I cleaned them. She sat there looking at me. So I said, do you want the other lens? And she cleaned my glasses every single day from then on. She had to do it. But if you found anybody who'd got glasses hanging around their neck, she'd go, she was trying to get my glasses. And she's trying to clean them for you. So that was her party piece. So yeah, this one will give me a kiss on command. So that's always nice. But I've not got him to do anything quirky like that. But there is one that when every time the girl sneezes, the dog snatches a tissue out of the box and gives it to us. So they bring a lot of love and a lot of companionship, and they will do. They will go that extra mile for you, I think.
It is so funny, isn't it? Because my spaniel is obsessed with picking up the dog balls when they're being fed, you know. So as soon as he finishes eating, he picks it up. And he was so keen, he used to nudge, he used to literally barge my Labrador out of the way to pick the ball up with before my Labrador finished eating.
Sitting her on the floor.
He'd be running up with like raw meat dropping out of Dandy's bowl so he could bring me the ball back. And so
God.
got to wait, you know.
Yeah.
And Danny's finished, he's in there getting the ball.
Yes, they do the same, but they eat side by side, but they never touch each other's bowl until the nose is out. And once the nose is out, they'll look, oh, did you leave it? No. And they'll just pick the bowls up, and that's it. Yeah. So and then they go off till dinner time. So it's gone already.
That's really.
But funny. They give you a lot of love. They give you a lot of fun, and change lives completely. Yeah.
And I mean, I'm a great believer that dogs need jobs, you know, and like I do the pet gun dog training because of the amount of gun dogs that are just really bored. So I developed this whole thing to get people who don't ever want to go shooting just to train their dog the way it's been bred. And I think dogs are really happier when they've got when they've got a purpose.
Yeah. Oh, I think so. I mean, I have had two people in my short time of having assistance dog tell me how cruel it is. How cruel. Yeah, I asked him. Yeah, I was walking across it was Inca actually. She pushed the zebra crossing button. And she'd even actually opened a zebra crossing button when they put the new lights in a different area. They come and photographed her doing it. So she officially opened the crossing.
Oh, wow.
She was very clever like that. Anyway, this woman came, she said, that's cruel. And she was quite aggressive. You know, she was really quite aggressive. And I said, pardon? She said, that's cruel. She said, nobody should work a dog like that. And I said, what do you mean it's cruel? My dog's with me 24/7. He's doing things with me, or she's doing things with me all day long. I hadn't really come across any hostility, and she was really, really very hostile. And I said to her, well, have you got a dog? And she went, yes. And she was really aggressive.
Wow.
And I said to her, okay. So I said, so you understand the dog's needs, and I'm sure you can tell me if I'm wrong. You can't make a dog do anything it doesn't want to do. So I said to her, hey, tell me, do you work? She went, and? I said, no, you've come at me. I'm just asking a simple question. Do you work? So she said, yes, I do. So I said, oh, only part-time, I assume, because you've got the dog. No, I don't, she said. And of course, you know what I was getting at. So I said to her, right. She said, well, I said, so you work full-time then? So she said, yes. I said, can I ask you what time? So she said, well, I'm out 9 till, I think it was about 5:30. So I said, oh, that's an awful long day. I go home at lunchtime.
Wow.
My dog is by my side 24/7. It's never on his own. Never on his own. Sleeps by my bed. She's always with me. That's not cruel. What you do is cruel. So I said, please don't, until you can walk in my shoes for 3 miles, don't even come near me.
Yeah.
She was furious. But how dare she? How dare she tell me it's cruel? Some people say, oh, they're glorified pets. Doesn't matter what they are. If they're glorified pets, he's my working dog. He comes with me everywhere. He assists me at the hospitals. He comes in X-ray department. He comes into the X-rays. They take him off around the corner when they're doing things. Mm-hmm. He's just with me all the time. And he just knows. And the difference of things is just amazing. Comes into church, go to funerals. They lay down instantly. It's just magical. And it makes you incredibly proud of them. So, yeah, I'm very proud of having one of these beautiful creatures.
It gives you like independence and a sense of security and safety and self-worth and all of these amazing things that come with having a dog that's there to look after you and make life easier for you. And
it's normal. They don't
as well.
But then it's normal. It makes me feel a normal human being. The majority of people talk about my dog now. They don't avoid me because I'm sitting in a wheelchair. You know, you often hear kiddies saying, oh, mummy, that lady's got no shoes on. Shh, shh, shh. And I was like, no, don't shush them up, you know. And I'd just look at the child and say, I actually don't have any shoes. I don't need shoes because I don't walk.
Of
You
course,
know,
you don't wear shoes at all, do you? You've got lovely rings on your feet.
not quite so many on now. Bracelets and rings, yeah, yeah. Well, apparently I was always taught, well, a long time back when I went to give a talk in spinal injuries, I took my Inca in, bless her, and there was an Indian sister on the children's ward. There was very sadly, there'd been a 14-year-old that had been hit, knocked off her bike, and they were trying to encourage her to be, you know, get over things. And I took Inca in and I said, look, you could, you know, when you get into your wheelchair and you get, life becomes more stable, you could have a dog that go to school, college with you and everything. So anyway, that helped. And the sister said to me about my feet, I'd got nail varnish on, I'd got rings on my toes. And she said, yeah, nail varnish to keep the heat in, and the rings in her country are known for circulation. So whenever anybody says to me, oh, you've got no shoes on, I've got good circulation because I've got rings on my toes. And yeah, so whether it works or not, I don't know. But yeah, I just hate anything on my feet. Very hypersensitive. So yeah.
Because I've seen photos with your feet, and I just, because my feet are tattooed. I've just thrown something out there that people don't know. I've got tattoos on both of my feet. I've got writing on both of my feet.
Oh, have you?
Yeah, yeah.
Is that painful?
Agony.
No. Just the thought of somebody being that.
Well, it was really funny because the tattoo that I really wanted. I'll just say it, the tattoo that I really wanted is on my right foot, which says "Patience in Jedi," which is what Kenny's been saying to me for 30 years, because I'm really impatient. I want everything now. And on my left foot, I've got A Journey of 1,000 Miles, which is my favourite Lao Tzu thing. A journey of 1,000 miles starts with a single step. And so I've got my left foot saying, get on with it, my right foot saying, slow down. And when I had the tattoos done, I really wanted the one on my right foot done, but the tattoo had started with my left foot.
Oh.
And it was so painful. And I thought, you know, that's where the like bloody mindedness of me once like, well, I've got to get the one on my right foot. So I've just got to brace myself and go through the pain, you know. But I love them. I absolutely love them.
Yeah.
And I think you know, feet. A lot of people don't like feet, but I think if you put a little something on them, I think they can look so beautiful and really sexy as well.
Yeah. The amount of people that I remember going to a swimming club that I used to help run, and we used to go out for a Christmas meal at lunchtime, and the chef over there had a real fetish about feet, and he just kept on and on about my feet. He just thought, but then people stop me in the street, oh, you've got pretty feet, or aren't your feet lovely, or wish my feet were like that, and you think, that's nice. They're tiny, so I'm quite lucky. They're only size 2.5, so
oh my god, that's tiny.
they're only little. Yeah, well, I'm quite small-handed really, so, but not really in comparison to my feet. So, but anyway, I've got tiny feet. Yeah, so that, you know, I can do what I like with them, can't I?
That's great. I think it's lovely to that you don't let the wheelchair or your disability define you. I think. No. You know, I have got so much admiration for you, Sue. And I said before we started, you know, I was quite nervous.
Really?
Yeah, I was quite nervous talking to you. And it's funny, people who you hold in such high esteem and high regard, I always feel really nervous when I first start talking to them, because they're just, you know, they're just like the special people. And so, yeah, I said, I'm really nervous about interviewing your mum, about chatting to your mum. So I think it's wonderful.
I just feel probably it was strange, but I do feel one of the luckiest people in the world. I really do. I know it sounds odd, and I remember my surgeon not very long ago actually when I went to see him, and because he actually asked how old I was, and and I said to him, and aren't I lucky? And he went, lucky. So I said, Yeah, I actually think I'm one of the luckiest people alive. And he said, do you think I'd call you lucky? But I do. I honestly do. And I'm immensely grateful for all the help that I've had to survive what I've survived.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and to be here where I am. Yeah.
It's
And I've got to be there. I mean, my son needs me for a start. So, yeah, I have to, each little step, I have to survive for
yeah.
him too. Yeah.
It is. I think it's an incredible blessing to be alive. I've lost people recently, and it's just
Mm.
you shouldn't take anything for granted. Every day, every minute
Every day is special. Yeah.
is special, and it's a real blessing. And
Yeah.
yes, amazing. But I think your attitude is just awesome. And I want to ask you about something that you did a few years ago, which was the Friends for Life with the Kennel Club. And
Yeah.
that to me, because there was little videos on everybody, wasn't there?
Yes. Yeah.
And there was this little the finalist, because you were on the finalist in 2013. And I can remember seeing the video of you and talking through, which dog was that? Was that the dog that you have now?
That was Max.
That
That
was
was Max and Ziggy. Yeah, we had Ziggy. Yeah, yeah. Gosh, that seems such a long time ago. It was a very special time, actually. It was very, yeah, very, very special in different ways and different meanings and things. So, yeah, very proud of that as well. Because we were, obviously there are loads and loads of people who apply or somebody puts them up for it. We
uh-huh.
were lucky to be chosen as a couple to go on and do that. So yeah, because we actually met through Dogs for the Disabled, as it was then, but now
Did
Dogs.
you?
Yeah. So yeah, because he had Byron when I met. Well, before I met him, I said to you earlier on that Inca had a twin sister,
Uh-huh.
and that was Isis. So Byron, who was married to Jill at the time, wanted to know because he'd heard about Inca, I'd heard about ISIS, and we met up. So we were sort of in contact for quite some time. And the sisters used to they remembered each other. I swear they did.
Yeah, they would have.
Yeah, absolutely. And they just loved it. And yeah, met them a few times. And my dog's better than your dog attitude. As she was. And anyway, yeah, very sadly, Jill died. And yeah, so Byron was very deeply, I mean, had been childhood sweethearts, been married to 38 years, and she just died very suddenly at 53. It was just awful. To get it right. Yeah, she had a massive heart attack. She was in a wheelchair as well. So they were the first couple to have a working dog that worked for both of them. So that was interesting.
Uh-huh.
And we're the first couple to have a working dog each. So there's nice things, and yeah. So that's really how it all how I've become remarried, and yes, and having two dogs in the house again all the time. So
Are you because I'm really competitive. I'm really competitive. So do you and Byron have like, well, my dog's better than your dog? Look, my dog can do this better. Or do you not have that you do have that rivalry?
Of course, but they are. But just because they're very different. Just because I adore Ziggy. He's such a very regal-looking dog. But yeah, there's very it's still very different when you have your own dog. It's not like having two dogs in the house.
No.
Ziggy is definitely Byron's dog.
Uh-huh.
Byron comes first to Ziggy. Doesn't matter what I do for him, still Byron's. But this one, my boy, is very mum's boy. He's a big wimp. He's lovely. He's a lovely, lovely dog. He's a super dog with humans, other dogs, children. It's just such a nice, well-mannered dog. He's beautiful. Yeah. Very special. Very special.
And how? Obviously, yeah. What made you go on to raw feeding? Because I know you're a passionate raw feeder.
Yeah.
So was it Flint or was it Max?
Max.
It was Max. Was that because of his autoimmune disease?
Yes. I'd obviously had to do a lot of research, and I do have a very good guide, don't I? His name is Ross, yes, who's also extremely passionate about raw feeding. But they, from the charity, which is fine, they were already on raw food, dried food, and then Max developed all sorts. He was, he'd eat his food, it wouldn't be a problem. But natural instinct were amazing. They took on board Max's problems, if you like, and they fed him for a long time, which helped me a great deal. So when Ziggy came on board, he was on some sort of dried German Shepherd food, which he totally refused. And we were told, that's all right, he'll eat it when he's hungry. But you can't leave a dog without eating properly. So, of course, as soon as Max's food went down, Snell came in. And that's when it all started. And I wouldn't feed them anything else. So to me, they have an amazing diet. They have a lovely diet. They have all sorts. I listen to Ross, what he adds in his occasionally, and touch wood, and I will touch wood. They've been amazing on it. So just brilliant.
Do you make it up yourself? Because I know Ross, we both used to feed Natural Instinct, and when Mish was there, and also Sue Armstrong was the vet at the time who would have helped you, and then they changed. The head of the business changed, and we moved away. And I can't remember who Ross feeds now. I feed Able dog food. I've moved on to it recently, and it's really good. You get these big chunks of meat in it, big lumps. You dish it up, and it's all, you have like just a big lump of muscle in there, or a bit of fat in there, and you can see like some green tripe, and there's like lumps of spinach in there, and it's fantastic. But I'm quite a lazy feeder, so I know Ross is brilliant. He goes,
you're
gonna have a bit of, organ meat, they're gonna have a bit of muscle, they're gonna have a bit of this, and then he puts all the supplements in as well, doesn't he? And
it's always amazing.
Just open the packet and go, and then mash it up, and then put like Billy No Mates for the ticks I put in, and sometimes I add digestive enzymes as well.
And I'm still with, thank goodness, Natural Instinct, which is still helping. Yeah, they still subsidise, if you like, so they help me out with that a lot, which is really, I'm always very grateful for that. But they'll get boiled egg on top, they'll get sardines on top, they'll have whatever. I mean, I never used to put on anything that I left on my plate, but if Ross has ever been, he will have the doggy bag. Oh no, I'll take that home, and he'll just do it, and I think, these dogs eat it, why can't mine? So they're not quite, they do have a little bit of jippy tummies now and again, but mostly they're really good on it. So the poo is much smaller, which is a lot easier for me, and just a lot nicer to the environment, really. And it's what they should be on. I mean, their teeth are amazing. I certainly wouldn't move for anything else.
It's great, that Natural Instinct. I mean, Natural Instinct's a really, really good dog food. And if you're adding little bits on as well, because I loved like the duck necks and everything from Natural Instinct. So my dog's getting duck necks as well, and ribs. On top, but I tend not to do a bit of this and a bit of that with Ross, because I'm really lazy. But they do get eggs a couple of times a week, and they do get duck necks, and they do get, sardines.
If I promise them scrambled eggs the next morning, they'll sit by the microwave for me to do them. Seriously, they don't get. Yeah, honestly, do you know, people say, really understand what you're on about? Yes, of course they do. They know exactly. And I can say to this one that I will walk him after my dinner, and he will not. He'll nudge until I take him. And I say, oh, it's raining. Promised. I know you have to fulfill. He's got that face, you've got to do it. But we have had lovely weather. This last couple of days it's been pretty horrendous. So we can't have the sunshine without the rain. That's what
yes. I mean, if you like with me, I live up in Scotland now, and I love it, and there's just waterfalls everywhere, and it's really lush and beautiful.
Yeah.
And how can you complain about the rain when you've got amazing landscapes? Without the rain, it would just be, all grass.
Well, it'd be horrible, wouldn't it? Horrible colour. I mean, the lush green that we're going to get now. But I just don't like getting soaked in the wheelchair, because you can imagine you just end up with very wet knickers, because that's exactly where it sits on your lap, and you think, it's wet. So don't even go there. No, but that's true. But our dogs come first. They have to be walked. They have to. I think sometimes you hear people like, they can wait. Actually, no, they can't wait. They have to go out. They have to have their exercise. And we do. I mean, we walk them with 3, sometimes 4 miles a day and things like that. And it's every day. And let alone all the shopping and extras that they do. So they're very, touch wood, very healthy, very lovely, loyal creatures. They wouldn't be without a dog.
Is it an electric wheelchair you've got, or a pushy wheelchair?
Both. I have the push one in the house. But I have a electric.
Have you got go faster stripes on the side of it?
Mine goes faster than Vibrant always. I'm always half a mile ahead of him.
Not competitive at all, huh?
Get back in the corner. No, but seriously, it is. People joke with us and say, "Oh, who wins?" Me. And I have to. I'm always in. My chair is a fast chair. No, it's good, and it's good for the dogs. They keep up, and I mean, slow it down when Flint gets older, I expect. But the more you do with them, the more they'll enjoy. So you don't give anything up. I don't give anything up. I just keep going with them. So
that's great. I mean, they're helping you have a fulfilled life, and you're certainly giving them a fulfilled life, which is amazing.
Yeah. I mean, they do. They have very much a dog life. They really do. I mean, we have friends come with ordinary dogs, if you like, if they're not ordinary, but you know what I mean, pet dogs. And they come in, I mean, little Billy comes in, she rules the house. They get out, oh, you want that? Yeah, have it. Yeah. Oh, you can have my toys, yeah. She's such a little madam.
She takes no nonsense, does she?
Oh, you love her to bits. So, and they go, get the dog bed out. As soon as I get the little Bill's bed out, they think, oh, she's coming to stay. And you can see it. You can just see it. But no, they are all really good. So they mix well. They have lots of free runs and things. So I think they actually have quite a good life, really. There's a lot of dogs who don't. And I think these have, they have a really nice home to sleep in. They have a lovely warm bed. They have a warm home. They have a reasonable garden. They have lots and lots of free runs. They have lots of walks. They have loads and loads of love. And I think, what more would they want? And they give it all back, and that's all that matters.
Sue, that's awesome. I think this is a really good place after talking like that about your dogs, just to call it a day, because it's just been so lovely talking to you. And I could keep talking to you. I could ask you loads of questions. But we've actually been talking for about 50 minutes, isn't that?
Oh, God, that's a long time. I know. So much to say.
So it's been an absolute pleasure to have you on the podcast. I'm going to say goodbye to you properly in a sec. I'm just going to stop the recording. But thank you so much for coming on. I'm so glad you did. And it's just been a real insight to listen to how you've adapted, because I think when you've always been in a wheelchair, it's one thing, but to then have to change your whole frame of mind and your whole life and adapt to not being as able-bodied, I think it's massive, and to have such a fabulous attitude that you have is just wonderful to hear. Thank you so much for coming on.
Very, very welcome, and thank you. Thank you for having us on. It's lovely.
Oh, it was great. And you take care and stay safe, and I'm sure I'll see you at some point when I'm down in England.
Hope so. Take care. Bye.
Bye-bye.